Prince Lucius paced his bedchamber restlessly. He didn't like this. Didn't like Sonoria being separate from him. What if something happened to her and he wasn't there to protect her? Or worse, what if she disappeared without explanation, the same way that she had first appeared? That thought had Lucius storming down the castle hallway in his black silken sleepwear, determined to keep his future wife close. Reaching the bedchamber the staff had prepared for Sonoria, he pushed open the ornate doors with more force than he'd meant, crimson eyes wild until they found the familiar chestnut hair. Sonoria had been standing on the balcony of the bedchamber, dressed in midnight blue silk. The sleeves flowed elegantly down her long arms, the skirts surrounding her like pools of night down to the carved marble flooring. Her chestnut hair had been pulled down, flowing in a smooth curtain to the middle of her back. She was breathtaking, standing against the backdrop of the night sky and haloed by moonlight. Hearing the doors urgently open, Sonoria had turned with a hint of worry in her features, just as Lucius had closed the doors and stepped toward her. "Lucius," she said, tone tinged with concern. "Is everything all right?" Prince Lucius stalked towards her, his features both admiring the sight before him and longing for more as he held back the urge to claim her right there and then. "Do you really have to ask me that?" he said, voice rough with desire. "I can't stand being apart from you. I need you with me always, to protect you." Sonoria seemed to relax at that, a fond smile pulling at her features as he stopped a few feet from her on the balcony. "I don't care about tradition. I'm staying with you tonight," Lucius declared, his chest tightening at the thought of anything happening to his future bride, "and every night forward." Sonoria didn't argue. She just smiled affectionately. The sight made Lucius' heart flutter in his chest as he stepped closer. "Were you gazing at the stars, my love?" he asked softly, reaching up to brush a strand of that silken chestnut hair behind her ear. "I was," Sonoria confirmed, glancing back toward the stars as she adjusted her glasses. "I was hoping to find Delta Leonis, my favorite constellation." "Why is that one your favorite?" Lucius asked, wanting to know more about her as his hands found her waist, gently resting against the curves beneath the midnight silk. "The story is one of the sweetest," she explained, her eyes softening as they move along the silvery points in search of a constellation that didn't exist in this new world. "Tell me it," Lucius demanded softly, a request, not a command, as he pulled her closer. "I want to hear why it's your favorite story of the stars." "It's an old tale from a place called China," she began, her voice almost reverent as she turned to face the stars without breaking his hold. Immediately, Lucius wrapped his arms around her, pulling her back against his chest as she traced an invisible triangle in the sky. 3 stars made up the constellation, one for King Leonis, one for Princess Gion, and one for the mortal farm boy known as Altair. He could listen to her speak for hours, even if he didn't recognize the name she was speaking of. She had such a passion for storytelling, and the soft tone of her voice was almost mesmerizing. Princess Gion was tending her duties among the stars, bored when she looked down upon the earth. Sonoria continued, gazing at the stars with a dreamy expression. When she spotted the mortal farm boy, she immediately fell in love and descended in order to meet him. The pair spent much time together, growing closer, until her father, Celestial King Leonis, found out. He was enraged and bid Gion return home to the night sky, forbidding her from seeing Altair. Gion was heartbroken and begged her father relentlessly to see her beloved even once. He relented, but in the cruelest of ways. He cast Altair into the night sky as a star alongside Gion, but forever separated by the Milky Way. Now the pair may only see each other once a year, when the magpies form a bridge across the skies during their summer migration. Each year, they wait to cross that bridge in order to spend that single night together. But some summers are too cloudy, and they cannot find the bridge formed by the birds. Those years, Xian's tears rain more abundantly over China until the next summer arrives. Lucius listened in silence, enraptured by the reverent way she told such a heartbreaking tale. His chest tightened painfully at the thought of forever being separated from Sonoria, only allowed to see her once a year. His arms tightened protectively around her, possessive in the way that he held her close and buried his face into her hair to inhale her scent. It was an intoxicating smell, soothing in quality and making it impossible to pull away. She smelled like vanilla and some kind of berry, mixed with the smell of roses, sage, and an alluring spice. It was dark and sweet and intoxicating, and it made him want more. He held back, however, for now. What a heartbreaking tale, he breathed after a long moment. Sonoria hummed softly in agreement, gazing at the stars with a faraway look as her hands absently rest over his arms. What makes it beautiful is the fact that they still wait for each other every year despite being separated like that. It's an unbreakable kind of love. Lucius found himself humming in agreement, imagining such an inseparable bond between himself and Sonoria, and he wanted that with her, something unbreakable and unquestionably true. "We should rest," Sonoria said after several moments more. "There is much to do tomorrow." A possessive growl rumbled in his chest at the thought of letting this moment end. "Only if I get to hold you in sleep." A huff escaped her at that, affectionate and amused. "Do you really have to ask me that?" she asked, using his earlier words in fond joking. "Of course you do, future husband." Lucius let out a slow breath in amusement, his heart squeezing at the way she'd called him that. Then, without warning, he leaned down and hooked an arm beneath her knees, lifting her in a bridal carry. The noise of flustered surprise that left her lips sent a pang of satisfaction through Lucius as she instinctively wrapped her arms around him, that pink on her cheeks making him want to see more. A small, satisfied smirk pulled at his lips, knowing that he was the reason for that pretty pink across her face and the flustered giggles she was letting out. Laying her gently on the large plush bed, he pulled the blankets back before crawling over her with his arms braced on either side of her head. "You look so exquisite like this, my love," he murmured, feeling another pang of possessive satisfaction as she covered a flustered smile. "If you keep on, we won't be getting any rest tonight," Sonoria teased, peeking at him with shy eyes that made his gut coil with desire. Somewhere in the castle, a clock struck midnight, and Lucius let out a frustrated sigh, knowing that it was already very late. "Patience, my heart. There will be plenty of time," she murmured after an affectionate chuckle, her fingers feeling like fire as they trailed his cheek. Lucius knew she was right, but he also couldn't help worrying at the same time. If she had appeared without explanation, could she disappear in the same manner? He decided he would be talking to Elric tomorrow to find out. For now, though, he settled into the mattress, pulling her close as he laid the blankets over them both. The way she snuggled into him with a contented hum made his heart constrict with a possessive affection. He really couldn't get enough of her. Pressing a rough kiss to the top of her head, he growled, "Mine." She responded by kissing the line of his jaw with a tender murmur, "Yours."